Good morning, everyone. Copyright infringements. I don't own the materials that I'm using in this channel, so it's for my own use only or personal use. So I don't want to read again over and over. So this is what I gonna do to read it for myself and gonna hear it again because I don't want to study over and over again. It's tiresome. Thanks be to God for the new day, and here we go. Some teachers find pronunciation unimportant in language teaching. However, a specific area and pronunciation should be emphasized in any languages. What is this area? The use of phonologically correct rules of language. That's the answer, but there's a comment below. The answer is A. The proper use of prosodic features. Which of the following adjective phrase is syntactically correct? The most perfect. B. Nearly perfect. C. Very perfect. D. Less perfect. The answer is nearly perfect. According to Skinner's behaviorism theory, language learning is the result of reinforcement. Which of the following epic is about the exploits of early Muslim warriors who fought in defense of Islam? The answer is Parang Sabil. Parang Sabil. Singto, a reporter, happened to be in the scene of the crime when the incident occurred. This is an example of a spot news. The teacher was asked to speak her student when they won the speech choir competition, and so she says, "On behalf of my students, I want to thank you." Teacher Nanon insists that his students must focus on correct grammar over pronunciation. there's there's a fly. Okay, Teacher Nanon insists that his students must focus on correct grammar over pronunciation in speaking. Is the belief of the teacher acceptable as a goal in listening? A. Yes, correctness of speech leads to effective communication. B. Yes, content is better than the way pronounces words. C. No, pronunciation must be key in teaching and speaking. D. No, there should be equal regard as to grammar and pronunciation. The answer is letter D. No, there should be equal regard as to grammar and pronunciation, which is expected when a teacher adheres to the community language learning method. The answer is students explore the task among themselves with less teacher involvement. When people speak different forms of a language in different social situations, the phenomenon is referred to as diglossia. In two-word stage, children produce utterances that contain only content words, nouns, verbs, adjectives, prepositions. Hebrew literature is considered as one of the most profound because of its religious aspect, which is an outstanding quality of Hebrew literature. Love of God, of man's first disobedience, and the fruit of that forbidden tree is the opening to Paradise Lost by John Milton. Ate, good morning. Paki-follow ko tubig big palihog. Saba kayo, bebe. Thank you. Which of the following statements is true about language? All languages use essentially the same number of sounds. That's letter A. Letter B. All native speakers of a language learn the basic rules of grammar in school. Letter C. While different languages may use different phonemes, they all essentially share the same syntax. The answer is letter D. None of the above. When young children begin to learn standard grammar, they tend to regularize it, which does not this mean they consistently use correct grammar and virtually every sentence. I just want to see my face. It's ugly. Good morning. Where am I? Letter B. They excessively regulate or control what they say to the point that they become inhibited. C. They assume that common syntax rules apply in all situations. D. None of the above. The answer is they assume that common syntax rules apply in all situations. Who first translated the New Testament into English? Answer is William Tyndale. What are the two main structures found when deconstructing a sentence into a tree diagram? Noun praise and verb praise. The time allotment for English in the K-12 curriculum is 4 per week. Who introduced the printing press in England? The answer is William Caxton. What conflict is evident on Shakespeare's play Othello? Triangular conflict. How long is the span of the theory May they Eve? Almost 50 years. People involved in play production fulfill certain functions. Which among the following is not included in the stated function? The answer is director, because lighting designer, costume designer, and stage manager is included. Which of the following words sound different from the others? Bow, bow, so, throw. The spelling of letter A is B-O-W. Letter A is B-O-W. Letter B, B-O-U-G-H. C, S-O-W. D, throw. It's T-H-R-O-W. The answer is bow. Bow. Arrow and bow. Bow. It's the answer is letter A. It's confusing, no? Because letter A is bow. Letter B is bow. Letter C is saw. Letter D is throw. So it's bow. Bow is bow. Arrow and bow. Bow. That's the answer. Modest propose a modest. It's not a modest, no. It's modest. A modest proposal was written by Jonathan Swift as a bitter pamphlet that ironically suggests that Irish babies be flattened for profitable sale as meat, since the English were eating the Irish people anyhow. What particular problem did it attack? Heavy taxation. Which work of William Wordsworth signaled the beginning of English Romanticism? The answer is lyrical ballads. Among the principles for good writing, what is considered to be the anchor wherein it keeps the readers from struggling off in all directions? The answer is unity. In second language learning, which is considered by Bailey and Savage 1994 as the most demanding and challenging of the macro skill, speaking. In which literary period of England was the use of staging called mansions inside the churches and portable wagons wheeled about inside the churches? Medieval. Which can correctly differentiate the statement Marian is a linguist from Marian is a linguist? Intonation. The writer who was charged and convicted of pornography for her short story Estrella Alphon. A B A B B C B C C D C D E E Spencerian poetry. The campus press serves as a training ground for future journalists, which the function of modern campus paper is shown. Laboratory. He is a major proponent in theoretical linguistics who believe that language is a form of anytheism. Noam Chomsky. Chomsky. Noam Chomsky. Which best explains why Filipinos have problems in dealing with English tenses. Tagalog verbs have aspects only. So that's the answer. When the pupils are in grade 2, which discrete elements are appropriate to introduce? Roots and affixes. Okay, excuse myself. The water is so very noisy. I'm gonna turn it off. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. Okay. Ay, God! The water. When two pupils are in grade 2, which discrete elements are appropriate to introduce? Roots and affixes. I read it twice. When you critique a text without reference to its author or history, you are applying which kind of literary theory? Reader response. Almost all haiku poems include seasonal words like snow or cherry blossoms that indicate the time of the year being described. These seasonal words are also called kigo. The place, the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king, which play of Shakespeare consists of the given quote, Hamlet. It is considered to be the first important poem in English to emerge from Eastern Africa, Song of Lawino. It is the first foreign dynasty in China's history, Yuan. English literature teacher can mean a teacher of English literature or literature who is from England. Which type of semantic ambiguity is present? Syntactic ambiguity. Learning for empowerment and better self-image is an example of intrinsic motivation. The Wars of the Roses were a series of English civil wars for the control of the throne of England fought between supporters of the rival branches of the royal house of Plantagenet. I don't know how to read it properly, but of Plantagenet. The House of Lancaster and the House of York, both houses used as a symbol of a rose. Which type of rose did the House of York have? White rose. Linguistic interference occurs when students learn another language. List of topics and texts to be studied, including the assessment strategies and other policies, appear in a course syllabus. Someone who can suit his or her language to the specific context can be characterized as sociolinguistic. A pair of letters representing a single speech sound as E, A, or E. A na elephant o A nga apple is meant or TH in meat or TH in I gotta read it. A pair of letters representing a single speech sound as E in meat or TH in pat. Deep, digraphs. Digraphs. To the honest watching my video, this is for my personal use. It's for my I'm doing self review. And the materials that I'm using is not mine, okay? Maybe you're wondering why you're here. The speaker should adjust the language according to the needs of the listener or based on what the situation dictates. All are examples of such adjustment except for A. Speaking differently in a classroom than on a playground. B. Talking differently to a baby than to an adult. C. Giving background information to help listeners. D. Using difficult vocabulary for basal learners. The answer is D. Using difficult vocabulary for basal learners. A semantic study of Philippine English shares how unique meanings are in contrast to its standard counterpart. An example is the term room for someone who stays in a dormitory or shared room of a boarding house without meals provided is known as bed spacer. Which statement is correct in the structure and form of the areas that produce lanzones? The Comedian island produces the sweetest ones. Among Asian countries, Singapore is known as a shopper's paradise. Neither you nor your children understand the problem. Eminent educators have observed that qualified jobs are becoming scarcer. Abby bought books for Andrea and me. After the show, the band members went to another area and hung out with their fans. The hang spelling is H-U-N-G. Ah! Basi nasa umahan or sa manukanoy? Use of graded readers is one approach to teach students with a low level of knowledge of English in general. These materials refers to different versions of books with simplified grammar. Listening to classical music is one of his preferred leisure activities. Among Filipinos, what characteristic makes English difficult to understand? It is a second or third language. An English teacher may administer a performance-based assessment in ESP using a rubric as a measuring instrument. In which of the following test is a rubric best applicable? Oral interview. What do we call the beginning of the news story? Lead. The English phonemic symbol that matches the following articulatory Articulatory description. Voice velar nasal is like NG. The writing is how can I say? Come on, again. The answer is this one. It's voice velar nasal. In classical Greek or Latin poetry, what do you call the poetic foot which consists of two unaccented syllables? Pyrrhic. The spelling is Pyrrhic. This language teaching method uses classical music to set a relaxed state prior to the discussion, suggests Topedia. The laborers are so happy that they're now reaping the fruit of their efforts. The first blank, the answer is the THAY apostrophe RE. Then their efforts THEIR. The diamond, the mineral form of carbon, is valued as a precious stone and also used for various industrial processes. What is the function of the underlined noun processes? Object of the preposition. Which among the following statements is true? Second language speakers need to prioritize not only fluency in the language, but also the correct use of grammar rules. Which poem by William Ernest Henley answers the questions, do humans control their own lives and values? It's very nicely in the morning. I'm gonna continue reading. Students in TPR or total physical response would most likely become actors. What conversation maxim seems to have been violated in the following example? A. How was the let? B. Well, the proctor is my former college professor. The answer is C. Maxim of relation. What symbol is used to link the events of the three generations of May Day Eve? Mirror. In which period did Shakespeare's work flourish? The most Elizabethan period. Which of the following sentence correctly observes subject-verb agreement? 12 months make up a year. You can sleep on the beach or in the woods. The sentence has conjoined prepositional phrases. Teacher Madi gives a springboard activity that would allow his students to connect the subject to the students' previous knowledge about the lesson. What does this manifest? Schemata activation. How does using colloquial language contribute to listening difficulty? Most second language learners have initially been exposed to the full forms of the English language. Which among the following is an example of nameplate, the Daily Tribune? Which type of editorial is used to point out the good and bad features of a problem or situation mentioned in the news and suggest a solution to an end? Editorial of argumentation. Which is not true about the present perfect tense? A. The action started somewhere in the past and continued up until present. B. It must bear with the auxiliary verbs has and or have, plus the past participle form of the verb. C. The action is still happening at present or just recently added. Letter D. The action is happening at present and may still happen in the future. The answer is letter D. The action is happening at present and may still happen in the future. Symbolically, what does the sea represents in literature? Life and death. All of the following are written by British authors except one, which is it. A. Wuthering Heights. B. Pride and Prejudice. C. To Kill a Mockingbird. D. Animal Farm. The answer is To Kill a Mockingbird. This novel is based on the pilgrimage of the Buddhist monk Swansang to India in search of sacred texts. The record of a journey to the West. Which of the following is true about free writing approach? The focus is on the quantity of writing rather than quantity. In the middle of the conversation, Carl suggests that other speaker appropriate language register to understand every detail in the meeting. If Carl's suggestion were to be observed, which factor in speaking difficulty could be avoided? A. Use of the reduced forms. B. Use of colloquial language. C. Use of unnecessary performance variables. D. All of the above. What is the title of novel written by John Steinbeck, which shows the Great Depression in America, where it traces the migration of an Oklahoma Dust Bowl family to California and their subsequent hardships as migrant farm workers? The Grapes of Wrath. A byline is the blank, the signature of a reporter preceding a news feature. Who among the following linguists believe that children are biologically programmed for language? H. Chomsky, Noam Chomsky. Anansi the spider is a famous African tale of which kind? Trickster tale. In the sentence, before Maria came to the university, she had served the DepEd for 10 years. The underlined verb praise exemplifies past perfect tense aspect combination. The underlined word is had served. When a minimal pair illustrates that S and Z are separate phonemes, lazy and lazy. Teacher J ensures that his students would not commit pronunciation errors in his class. Which teaching method does the teacher adhere to? A. LM. If one wanted to find the names of the paper's writers, she or he would refer to the masthead. He is acclaimed as America's greatest pamphleteer. Thomas Paine. F. Scott Fitzgerald's story that is about a boy who was born old and gets younger every day. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Which syntactic structure is shown in the following examples? Responsible officer's trusted friend. Modification. A message was sent by the chief of office. What should the subordinate answer? Choose the best response. Noted, sir. Which of the following is not a feature of reading application? Relating lessons to own life. That's letter A. Letter B. Linking lessons to real life. C. Responses through multiple intelligences. D. Communicating insights and ideas. The answer is responding through multiple intelligences. In the climax of the story, Kim in Miss Saigon wants to let the characters feel the extreme devastation she is feeling. Which body position might the director select to be best? Full front. Which of the following is an example of talk as performance? Marlin gives a class report about a school trip. Upon reading the story of the Little Prince, Arnaldo began to self-assess his idea of what makes someone beautiful, which reading comprehension does manifest. Evaluative. This type of stage has audience seats on three sides with apron of the stage extended so acting area is moved forward. Thrust. One of the factors that influence learners' listening is their knowledge in the language system. Which of the following situations shows lack of knowledge in the language system? Jesso still finds it hard to understand her American friends after 1 month of being exposed to their language. If I cannot hear this well, I'm gonna read it again. My God, I should read it early in the morning. Which is not a characteristic of a story of local color. A. Mores and traditions of a particular locality. B. Description of the local setting. C. Bias and prejudice of characters. D. Politeness and address marks. The answer is B. Bias and prejudice of characters. That is not characteristic of a story of local color. One of the most powerful countries which existed several years back is the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. That what article is missing? The which Filipino magazine began to operate in the 1920s and continued to flourish even during the Japanese regime. Liwayway. What do you call the type of irony wherein it involves a situation in a narrative in which the reader knows something about the present or future circumstances that the character does not know? Dramatic irony. Which of the following sentence shows an error? Subject verb agreement. Measles is contagious. The community works hard even on holidays. C 100 pesos are hard to earn in 1 day. My pajamas are still wet. The answer is 100 pesos are hard to earn in 1 day. The following words are formed by compounding except A. Hold up. B. Cosmonaut. C. Brown out. D. Warm up. The answer is cosmonaut. Who is the famous worldwide playwright whose plays were never published during his lifetime but masterpieces? William Shakespeare. The imperative have an enjoyable vacation is used as I wish. What aptly describes universal grammar? The answer is rules applicable to all human languages. When Roland and his compatriots realized that the enemy really do outnumber them, he had decided to ask for the help of the king's army for relief. How did he get the attention of the king? He blew a magical horn of elephant. But okay, this type of novelty lead uses familiar common expressions or verses. Epigram lead. The story's subordinate headline is called deck. The spelling is DEC, which pertains to all the elements of the director visualizes and puts in every scene. Picturization. This playwriting focuses on the development of the academic writing skills. The following are examples of displaying writing except A. Short answer exercise. B. Note taking. C. Research reports. D. Essay examinations. The answer is D. Essay examinations. Who is acclaimed to be the prince of Ilocano poets? Claro Caluya. It was referred to as the golden age of Chinese civilization, Tang Dynasty. The judges chose Mau Mau the best dog. Best dog is underlined. In the show, the italics praise function as object complement. The transcription talp represents the word type talp. Talp. Which of the following nouns show inflection? A. Friendship. B. Helplessness. C. Advocacy. D. Librarians. The answer is letter D. Librarians. The following words lab, dorm, proof, gym, prom, and mic result from a word formation process called clipping. A low-intensity earthquake was felt. How should students exit from the college building? What is heard from the dean? Move out of the classrooms orderly and proceed to the open field. She was considered to be the most respected Filipino woman. Fictionist during free war days, Estrella Alpon. This view emphasizes that native language comprises habits that a second language learner must overcome. This is accomplished by forging new habits through repetition of pattern drills with accompanying positive reinforcement. Behaviorist learning theory, which hypothesis suggests that there is an optimal window of time during which anyone can learn a first language or second language in a normal or native like level. Critical period hypothesis. When scene calls for an intimate romantic moment, which part of the stage is most appropriate to be used? Downright. An oral interpretation which does not belong to the group. Reader's theater. Storytelling, monologue, and declamation. The answer is reader's theater. The activities the second language teacher does in his or his does in his or her class pertain to techniques. Which of the following is the focus of control to free writing? Accuracy of writing. Harriet Beecher's Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin is inspired which famous Filipino literary masterpiece, No Limit Ang Heri. What sense image is used in this line? From La Torina's The Small Key, where there were dark, newly flowed furrows, wherein dew, timorous seedlings would rise to sturdy stalks and golden grain, to a rippling yellow sea in the wind and sun during harvest time. The highlighted words are there were dark, newly plowed furrows. It's visual. It is the study of how people use language in different contexts. Pragmatics. The following sentences, this shoe all wet, cat drink milk, daddy go bye bye, are sentence structure of lexical words with no function or grammatical morphemes. These sentences are characteristic of what stage of first language acquisition? Telegraphic stage. Which of the following is properly sequenced? An ugly, old gray wooden statue. The words inadequate, disembarked, uneducated, and illegitimate have prefixes that are negative. Which of the following sentences does not have a linking verb? The class are working on their science project. The extension part of a traditional stage is referred to as apron. Which of the following is a gradable adjective? Healthy. If a student has familiarity with the sounds of the language, he or she is said to have phonemic awareness. The Let 101 students were asked to look for specific names of the characters while watching the film Pride and Prejudice. Which of the following skills was emphasized? Listening for details. Teacher Lada prepared a reading passage that talks about a specific discipline. In selecting words to include in their vocabulary instruction, the first included the words that have completely different meanings in other disciplines. What type of words did teacher Lada consider first? Technical words. The plays Oedipus Rex and Antigone were written by the Greek dramatist Sophocles. John decided to revise some of the profanities in his written work to be sensitive to his young readership. Which aspect of writing did he mainly consider? Audience. In Amadordagius, the wedding dance, which type of conflict is shown? Man versus society. Which type of news story aims to entertain more than to inform? News feature. Before presenting a debate video, teacher Loy instructed his students to focus on evaluating the speaker's arguments and value of his ideas. It's critical, which best describes the Old Testament as literature, an anthology of Jewish literature. Sex at noon taxis is an example of palindrome. This is an affective factor which refers to the learner's reason for trying to learn the target language. The answer is motivation. The Philippines is considered as English as second language or ESL. He devised the plan which caused the fall of Troy and brought victory to his people, Odysseus. What does that mean? What is that? Which of the following words contain an O sound? Therefore, comprehensible input incursion's input hypothesis is I plus 1. Which of the following WH questions elicits clarification? What does that mean? In the sentence, my aunt tenderly mothers her youngest son. The word mothers is a verb. Anton's Nipahat was destroyed by typhoon. Altogether, the spelling is Altogether and written as one word. In a play production, which stage is casting a part of? Pre-production. Showing the contrast between vowels I and I, the small I and the big I, as in heat and heat, is best presented by using minimal pairs. Many a man longs to be rich and famous. Many a man desires to be rich and famous. Okay, that ends the English major. Bye, have a good day. It's noisy now already, so gonna get this end.